Golden Rules warmly welcomes you all. Have you ever thought about it? How do we, the merchants, make money from you? Why do people in this world willingly let others profit from them? For example, recently, I went to consult a feng shui master in the morning, all sorts of things. I spent money without a second thought. It's the same when I buy clothes. I rarely compare prices. I just pick the most expensive item, the one displayed most prominently in the store. Some women spend an hour looking at clothes, while I'm done in just 5 minutes. Then, those women criticize me for being hasty. Many people think I live extravagantly, even unromantically. But I don't argue, because to me, arguing is also a luxury. In reality, this is just a misunderstanding between people. A designer bag, a high-end watch. Why do they cost tens of thousands of dollars? Yet people like me are still willing to buy them and feel happy about it? In fact, it's because of a misunderstanding. But the misunderstanding here isn't that I don't know the production cost of those items. Everyone knows how much it costs to produce a bag. Do you think I don't understand the business strategies and tactics of brands? Do you think I buy a luxury watch to show off my status? Do you think my extravagance comes from money? If so, you'll never make a lot of money. For example, if you're in business and sell a shirt with a production cost of $100, you price it at $150. Thinking a $50 profit is already a lot. You don't dare raise the price higher because you're afraid customers will think you're ripping them off. But in this world, there are brands that sell a shirt with a $100 production cost for $10,000, and I'd be the one buying it, even thinking it's worth it. Do you want to know why that is? It's related to the most fundamental principle in economics, often underestimated: information asymmetry. I don't know why, but the most useful principles are often overlooked. Why did I choose to study economics in university? Because I felt economics was truly the most useful subject in the world. But many people, after studying economics, pursue an academic path, studying just to pass exams. As a result, a great subject like economics turns many into economic theorists who can't find jobs after graduation. Because out there, companies don't need economists. Many people think economics is just theoretical nonsense. If you want to succeed, you have to pursue academic research. But I see the true meaning of this subject, and my channel is to share the mindset of wealth creation for entrepreneurs, investors, and the rich. I believe everyone should study economics, especially if you want to succeed. So, if you don't want to miss out on anything in this field, you might consider subscribing to my channel and turning on notifications. If you find what I say resonates with you, please like and share this video. Today, I'll provide lots of examples, like a human wave strategy. Normally, I don't do this, but this time, I want to inspire you all. Let me put it this way. If you watch this video not as an employee, set aside your current professional mindset and look at making money and tactics with a fresh perspective. I believe you'll be enlightened, awakened, and from there, unstoppable in your transformation. The first thing I want to share is how to create an advantage through information asymmetry. What is information asymmetry? It's simple. I know something you don't, or you know something I don't, creating a gap in information between us. For example, when I was a kid, I loved to show off. My family wasn't well off. We struggled a lot. My mom bought me a pencil case with a spring mechanism. Press a button, and a laser light pops out or something. Those who've seen it would know. I brought that pencil case to school and showed it off to my friends. One friend asked me how much it cost. I remember it was about $10, but I said $50. Back then, $10 for a pencil case was already a big deal. Saying $50 was astronomical. In truth, a few other kids had similar pencil cases, priced about the same. But because I said mine was $50, I instantly became a hero, admired by all the kids, the king of the class. Before, whenever I wanted a snack, others would offer to share with me, trying to win my favor. Looking back now, some might think that behavior was bad, but honestly, we've all been a bit naughty. Back then, I often heard the saying, "Kids who lie will have their noses grow long." But that saying itself is the biggest lie. In a world full of lies, you adults use lies to trick us kids into not lying, right? Or do you want us to get used to being deceived from an early age? What I'm about to share might shake your values because it involves the intertwining of truth and lies, just like this world. Do you know how I mentioned the wealthiest family in the world, the Rothschilds, rose to power? They leveraged information asymmetry to set up a grand gamble. During the Industrial Revolution, a young Jewish man named Nathan Rothschild moved from Frankfurt, Germany, to Manchester, England. When he arrived, he didn't know a single word of English, but in a short time, he became one of the richest and most influential people in England. How did he succeed so quickly? The story goes back to his father, Mayer Rothschild, who laid the foundation that changed the family's destiny. They were Jewish, very poor, with extremely low social status. But Mayer seized an opportunity, selling rare shares he had collected to Prince William. After that deal, their relationship became as close as Emperor Kangxi and Wei Xiaobao. Mayer became the royal family's private merchant. But what I want to talk about isn't Wei Xiaobao's story. It's Nathan, the son, who truly brought the Rothschild family to its peak. Mayer had 5 sons, and Nathan was one of them. The 5 brothers were sent to key countries across Europe, maintaining regular contact. They set up a private family communication network covering Europe, with dedicated staff, carriages, and fast ships always ready to go. In 1815, during the war between England and France, the famous Battle of Waterloo took place. The Rothschilds closely monitored the war's progress because knowing the outcome first could lead to a massive fortune. If England won, the price of British government bonds would skyrocket. But at the time, with Napoleon's fierce momentum, England's chances of winning were almost nil. On June 19th, someone in the Rothschild network was the first to receive news of England's victory. Back then, there were no phones, faxes, or telegraphs. They immediately used a private ship to cross the sea from a Dutch port to England, delivering an urgent report to Nathan. Nathan only needed to glance at the headline before galloping to London. He received the news just a few hours before the British government, but those few hours were enough for him to make a fortune. Nathan had a fixed spot at the London Stock Exchange. He was so famous that his facial expressions became a weather gauge for the market. On June 20th, while everyone was anxiously awaiting news, Nathan sat quietly at the exchange and began selling off bonds. This action immediately shook the market. People buzzed. Nathan's selling off. England must have lost. Sell quickly. So, everyone rushed to sell, ignoring prices. The panic selling caused British government bond prices to plummet. Yet Nathan remained calm, continuing to sell as if nothing was wrong. When the bonds hit rock bottom, Nathan quietly sent his agents to act. They began discreetly buying up large quantities of the dumped bonds. This stunned everyone. Just then, news of England's complete victory arrived, causing British government bond prices to soar. In just a few hours, Nathan made millions of pounds, an enormous sum at the time. Look at Nathan. He used information asymmetry to make money. He got the news a few hours before the British government. This is a classic example of reaping the green harvest. One big move made this family wealthy to this day. Though very mysterious, everyone knows this family is the biggest financial shark we can't see. Since ancient times, merchants have made money this way. Only when information is uneven is there room for profit. There's a story that left a deep impression on me. I'll briefly share it to see if you can grasp something from it. Once upon a time, there was an antique dealer. He noticed that a wealthy man had a beautiful cat in his house. He also saw an old bowl next to the cat. The dealer thought, I wonder if this rich man knows that bowl is an antique? Could I buy the cat and trick him into giving me the bowl too? So he approached the rich man and said, Sir, your cat is so beautiful. I love it. Would you sell it to me? The rich man replied, Oh, this cat is very valuable. You probably can't afford it. The dealer said, Name your price. The rich man asked, How much would you pay? The dealer said, I'll offer 10 taels of silver, which was no small sum back then. The rich man shook his head. No deal, not selling. The dealer pressed. How about 100 taels of silver? After some thought, the rich man agreed to sell the cat. After receiving the cat, the dealer added, Sir, this cat is used to eating from that old bowl. Could you throw in the bowl too? The rich man looked at him, smiled, and said, Do you know how many cats I've sold because of that bowl? How could I give it to you? Got it. This is the risk in transactions caused by information asymmetry. The antique dealer thought the rich man didn't know the bowl was an antique and tried to trick him, only to be outwitted. If the rich man sold a cat for 100 taels of silver every day, that's a huge profit. This is a game set up by uneven information. The dealer thought he was scheming, but he fell into the rich man's trap. Hearing this, does it feel cunning or manipulative? Does it make you think people's hearts are scary? But here's a question for you to ponder. Do you want to be the antique dealer or the rich man? Since information asymmetry is inevitable, shouldn't you hone your ability to set up your own game? Even if you can't be the rich man, at least don't be the one fooled, right? After hearing all this, some might feel the business world is ruthless, even hating merchants. But have you ever thought about it? When you apply for a job, the boss offers you a salary higher than the market rate. You pour your heart into working for him, helping him earn $10 million, while you only get $100,000 in salary. Yet you're grateful and keep dedicating yourself to the boss. Meanwhile, the boss does nothing. You're the one who willingly applied, and he just sits back, earning millions. This is the reality of life. Many people are sold off, but still happily count the money for those who sold them. Why is that? It's because of psychological and informational asymmetry. In this world, many capable people are somehow brainwashed by certain information, so they never think about starting their own business. Right after graduating, they're scared of not finding a job, so they rush to find one at all costs. When a company hires them, they think it's a blessing from heaven, not realizing that at that moment, they've stepped onto the path of being fully exploited. From then on, you live for others. Every penny you earn isn't truly yours. It goes to someone else's pocket first, and if they're in a good mood, they'll share a portion with you. That someone else is your boss. I know many bosses. Many of them, my mentors, aren't highly educated. They're first-generation entrepreneurs. Some can't even write. While you look down on them, they're already running businesses with billions in revenue. They may not be skilled, but their subordinates are all talents from top universities, working hard for them. And these talents? Their annual salaries are just a few $100 million, dirt cheap. To put it bluntly, Liu Bang, the founder of the Han Dynasty, had the same mindset. He once said, "No matter how much you've learned, so what? In the end, you work for me. I give you a little money, buy all your time, and your 8 hours a day are dedicated to me." You might feel angry, but that's exactly why I decided to start my own business, not work for someone else. But when you have nothing, it's easy to feel helpless. Start a business? I don't have money to hire anyone. When I was in university, maybe I had some personal charm. So many friends were willing to help and work with me without calculating. But looking back, I see all that was unnecessary. Because living in this era is already very fortunate. Back then, I did e-commerce and had to handle inventory. Now, you don't need to. Now, one person alone can start a business. Because this is the era of personal media. As long as you have average intelligence, anything you do can yield results. So what's the trend? Even Apple is preparing to produce electric cars. Why? Because Tesla created that trend. Talking about setting up schemes, many feel it's unethical. That's true. The wealth of families like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers came from accumulating the resources of many smaller families. Those small families were the sacrifices for their rise. This sounds complicated, making many feel that discussing tactics and strategies is wrong, always hesitating. Especially students or employees who've never done marketing or business. They're more likely to view tactics and strategies negatively. But if humans didn't use tactics and strategies, we'd have been eaten by other animals in prehistoric times. It's because humans knew how to store wild fruits, craft weapons like stone clubs for hunting, learn from bloodshed to devise ways to deal with enemies and hunger, that we survived and thrived in a competitive world where the strong prevail and the weak perish. If your ancestors didn't use tactics or strategies, they'd have long been meals in the pots of those who did, and you wouldn't be here. In modern society, if you don't want to be cheated, sidelined, or eliminated, you need more tactics and strategies than others. Because you have to live, have a partner, a house, a car. Let me tell you an animal story to shift the misconception that tactics and strategies are evil. Swans soar high in the sky, leaving foxes gazing enviously below. Swans are highly organized. When they sleep in the reeds at night, they assign one as a sentinel. If an enemy is spotted, the sentinel alerts the flock to wake and fight, leaving the fox helpless. But the fox doesn't give up. It devises a small trick to scare the swans. It deliberately rubs against the grass, making rustling sounds, causing the sentinel to think there's a real enemy. The sentinel immediately sounds the alarm, waking the flock. But when no enemy appears, they go back to sleep. The fox repeats the trick, and the sentinel raises the alarm again. After several times, the flock gets angry at the sentinel, hitting it with their wings, then sleeping again. From then on, no matter how the sentinel warns, the flock no longer believes and sleeps soundly. The fox, exploiting their fatigue and lowered guard, casually approaches and bites a swan's neck. So, not only humans, but even animals use information asymmetry to hunt. In truth, human society is a jungle. If you don't know how to use tactics and strategies, you're truly naive. How can you make money? Between people, there's always competition for food, clothing, shelter, partners, living space, power, and status. Like animals, we must learn and use tactics and strategies. But this isn't negative. In modern society, tactics and strategies aren't about survival or harming others for gain. Harming others harms yourself. If you don't know how to benefit yourself wisely, how can you achieve mutual benefit and coexistence? That's what we should learn. Because of information asymmetry, transactions happen. For example, in Myanmar, there's a market called gemstone betting. What's gemstone betting? It's not ordinary stones, but jade. The jade here isn't like mined jade. It's stones dug straight from the mountains in separate, chaotic blocks. When these stones are dug up, they're brought to the market for trading. Since no one knows exactly how much jade is inside, it's called the gemstone betting market. In this market, no one knows how much jade a stone contains. Not even experts can analyze it with certainty. That creates information asymmetry. Sellers want to sell at a high price, while buyers hope to get good jade cheaply. This leads to information asymmetry in the transaction. If I'm an expert and a seller, I might assess a stone's value at around $10,000 after observing it. But if I want big profits, I might hide the truth. I tell the buyer this stone contains a lot of jade. Though it looks like ordinary rock outside, the jade inside is top quality. The buyer might then offer $100,000 for my stone. As a result, I make a $90,000 profit through information asymmetry. On the buyer's side, if they're lucky and buy a $10,000 stone containing $100,000 worth of jade, they'll feel very smart. See, neither side cuts the stone to check, so the transaction is considered fair. If a $10,000 stone is cut and truly worth only $10,000, it's a transparent transaction with no information asymmetry. Then, both buyer and seller struggle to make big profits. Information asymmetry drives the thriving gemstone betting market in Myanmar. Uneven information creates profit opportunities. That's why, in this world, the knowledgeable profit from the ignorant. Take plumbing, for example. I hire a plumber to fix a pipe. He finishes in 5 minutes. He says it's simple, but still charges me a hefty fee. Watching him, it seems simple, but I still have to pay, right? Everyone knows feng shui masters explain things to you. You understand it all after listening. But every time I move offices or homes, I still hire a feng shui master. I'm always happy to pay the fee, because every time I hire one, by the next meeting, I've moved again. Do you think I'm superstitious? But I've noticed most rich people and entrepreneurs believe in feng shui. I personally find feng shui has great reference value. After all, something that's survived the test of time can't be baseless. A business lasting 100 years is already tough, let alone a culture, right? For me, believing in feng shui doesn't hurt. I spend money to hire a good master. If he helps me make more money, or at least makes my company work with peace of mind, isn't that worth it? That's how I make money too. I understand investment, entrepreneurship, management, finance, history, and psychology. I know a bit more than others in many areas. So if I don't make money, who will? Ponder this. If you want to be someone who makes money, you need to know more than others in some aspects. You don't need to study a specific field. Just read books. Spend a little money to buy books and read at home. When you can read a book 10 times, your income will naturally rise. That's how I did it. Sounds unrealistic, right? But I've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad over 10 times. The book says, within books lies a golden house. Reading truly connects closely to entrepreneurship. I admit merchants must seek profit, but that doesn't mean being unscrupulous for money. For me, the motto is to do business honestly and be an upright person. Even when using strategies or setting up schemes, it must be based on mutual benefit. Only then will others willingly pay you. However, some businesses, chasing bigger profits, lose their initial conscience, exploiting information asymmetry to hide the truth. Economics textbooks clearly state that information asymmetry leads to two consequences: adverse selection and moral hazard. What's adverse selection? In my words, it's bad money drives out good. Take the used car market. There are good and bad cars. A good car might be worth $20,000, a bad one $10,000. As a buyer, you don't know which is which, so you might think a good car sells for $20,000, a bad one for $10,000, and settle on an average of $15,000. That's what you're willing to pay. But you'll find that with $15,000, you can't buy a good car because a truly good car is worth $20,000. So, $15,000 only gets you a bad car. If most buyers think this way, good cars will gradually disappear from the market. Good cars are driven out by bad ones. That's bad money drives out good. Not just the used car market. Many businesses face this. High and low-skill employees get the same salary. Think about it. The talented will feel, I need to jump ship soon. Staying here, my skills aren't valued because the pay doesn't match. In the end, good or bad performance is the same, and the company is left with low-skill workers. This is a common issue many businesses face. So, we need to improve performance evaluation and reward punishment systems. Only then can we retain true talent. High-skill employees should earn more for more work, less for less. Skilled people get high pay, unskilled get low pay. Only then can a normal market ensure a company's stable growth. Look at the tourism market too. When it first developed, everyone lowered prices to attract customers. For example, a South Korea tour originally cost $500, but now you can book one for $200. Think about it. $200 for a week isn't enough for flights, accommodations, guides, etc. How can they profit? In the end, $500 tours from legitimate companies can't survive, pushed out by $200 tours from groups like Bee's Nest. Unless I also drop to $200. But if everyone lowers prices, there's no profit, forcing other ways to make money. So why do $200 tour companies survive? Let's take an example. Suppose a South Korea tour's actual cost is $250. Selling at $500 yields a $250 profit, reasonable. But selling at $200 means a $50 loss. Where does that $50 come from? This is the second issue from information asymmetry, moral hazard. There's a saying, the wool still grows on the sheep. In tourism, I'm a guide, representing the travel agency. The cost is $250, but I sell to you for $200. So, I need to recover that $50. I'm a good person, but for a living, I have to gently deceive you. I'll say the gems here are great, buy them. This cosmetic is super effective, makes you look younger, buy it quick. As a result, a $10 cosmetic is sold for $100, a $5 gem for $500. The price difference is the profit. If everyone in the group spends $100 to $200, doesn't that cover the initial loss? This is the moral hazard caused by information asymmetry. As a buyer, you don't know the item's true value. You can't verify cosmetics' worth, gems' authenticity, or supplements' value. You buy, then realize you were tricked because you chased cheap deals and got a bitter outcome. So, how can the market avoid the negative effects of information asymmetry? According to Adam Smith's economics, the market has an invisible hand that regulates itself without intervention. In my view, some smart people have found solutions. Nowadays, many online platforms act as transaction intermediaries. If I want to sell a car, I can contact dealers through the platform. They send used car appraisers to assess my car's current value. Suppose I bought the car for $100,000. They reassess it at a market value of $50,000. I can list it on their site for $50,000. Buyers see a $50,000 car and find it reasonable. Plus, there's an appraiser's signature, government-related certifications, so I trust the car is worth $50,000. The dealer connects the seller and buyer, charging a 5% or 10% fee as a service charge. See, I earn a fee by providing information and reducing information gaps. This significantly lowers transaction risks, increases transparency, and helps the used car market grow ethically. That's why I always say brokerage or intermediary platforms are highly profitable startup models, because they make information transparent and bring convenience and fairness to both sides. Many people avoid intermediaries when buying houses. That's foolish because the information you get may be uneven. For such a big investment, trying to save a little money could lead to bigger losses. We must understand that information asymmetry is normal in markets. We can't achieve complete information balance. So, we can only try our best to minimize risks from information gaps. Due to time constraints, this video ends here. I share free information on becoming rich, an entrepreneur, an investor, and achieving financial freedom. If you don't want to miss out, I suggest subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, and sharing this video widely. I wish those who like this video achieve financial freedom soon. If you find one or two useful sayings in what I shared today that can improve your life even slightly, I'm already satisfied.